Chosen one, stop scrolling and open your spirit. This moment is divine. Heaven has paused your feed not by accident but by assignment. Something has been stirring around you, whispers in unseen realms, subtle betrayals you could feel even when no one spoke them aloud. You have sensed it, people smiling before you, yet speaking against you. But hear this, God has seen it all. Nothing escapes the eyes of the Almighty. And today, He reveals what has been hidden behind your back. You are not crazy. You are not overthinking. You are discerning. The unease that has lived in your chest was not fear, it was divine warning. God was pulling back the veil so you could see the truth without the need for confrontation. The Holy Spirit was already protecting you before you even knew you needed protection. There have been conversations where your name was twisted, where your intentions were questioned, where envy dressed itself as advice, but even there, God stood in the midst. Every word spoken against you in secret has already been recorded in heaven's court. Justice is not delayed, it is being prepared. The Lord is not slow, He is strategic. You will not have to fight in this battle because the battle belongs to Him. Chosen one. Listen closely, the people who left you were never meant to stay for the unveiling of your glory. God allowed their exit because their loyalty had an expiration date. Their motives could not survive the fire that now surrounds your calling. Every loss, every disappointment, every "I thought they were different" moment was divine redirection. You are not being punished, you are being positioned. Heaven is shifting your circle. The same way gold must be purified by fire, your connections are being refined. Some will fall away, not because you are bitter, but because you are becoming brighter. Light always exposes shadows, and when light increases, some cannot stay near. Do not mourn this purification. What feels like separation is really preparation. The Lord says, do not expose them, I will. What they said behind your back is already being overturned by what God is speaking over your destiny. The truth will rise like dawn, undeniable and unchallenged. Your silence will speak louder than their gossip. Your peace will preach louder than their lies. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 37, verse 6. He makes your righteousness shine like the dawn, your vindication rises bright as noonday sun, the Lord reveals justice. Take comfort in this. Beloved, no scheme can cancel what heaven has signed. Every time they spoke your name in mockery, heaven whispered it in mercy. Every attempt to shame you became an opportunity for God to showcase His glory through you. You have cried. Yes, but your tears were not wasted. They were prophetic seeds watering your next breakthrough. There were moments you thought no one saw the pain you carried, yet angels were recording every sigh, every prayer, every act of faith done in secret. The Lord has kept a record, not of your failures, but of your endurance. And now, the record will speak. Your consistency has been seen. You did not endure all that pain in vain. The very things that wounded you are about to become the proof of your anointing. Those hidden scars are now your heavenly credentials. When God displays you next, it will not be because of what you achieved, but because of what you survived with grace. Remember, chosen one, the throne is not for those who seek revenge, but for those who refuse to bow to bitterness. Your reward is not in the opinions of men, but in the remembrance of heaven. Every injustice has a return address, and that address points straight to your restoration season. Now, rise in stillness. Stand firm in peace. The exposure is not for your humiliation, it is for your elevation. You are walking into a chapter where truth becomes your defender, and time becomes your witness. You won't need to clear your name because God is clearing the atmosphere around your name. Let them talk, heaven is about to testify. You are the evidence that God protects his chosen even when the enemy plots in darkness. This unveiling will not destroy you. It will define you. You are stepping into divine revelation, and the world will know you were chosen long before they conspired. If this word resonates within you, take a step of faith like share and subscribe so the message of truth can reach more of God's chosen. And in the comments, type 777 as your prophetic declaration, I receive what heaven has revealed. You feel it before you see it, the weight in the atmosphere, the invisible pushback that tries to make you doubt your worth. Chosen one. This is not coincidence. You are standing in the midst of a silent war. Though it does not rage with swords and guns, it is far more dangerous because it targets your peace, your faith, your focus. Every delay you face, every sudden conflict, every unexplained heaviness is evidence that darkness recognizes your light. The enemy knows he cannot destroy you, so he tries to distract you. The whispers, the strange resistance, the confusion that shows up out of nowhere, these are not random. They are carefully crafted attacks meant to wear you down slowly, to make you question if God still sees you. But heaven wants you to know the war you feel is proof that you are advancing. You are a threat to darkness, even when you don't speak a word. This battle is ancient. It began long before you were born, when light first clashed with darkness. Every chosen vessel carries that same tension, a war between what is divine within you and what tries to pull you into despair. But the good news is this: the fight may be invisible, but the victory is inevitable. God has already written your triumph into the blueprint of your destiny. There are times you wake up exhausted even though you've done nothing physically. That's because your spirit has been fighting through the night. Your dreams feel heavy, your thoughts restless, your energy drained. You sense people pulling away, opportunities drying up, and relationships turning strange. It's not all coincidence, it's spiritual resistance. But even in the unseen, God has placed his angels around you. Every scheme of darkness must bow before divine authority. You are not fighting alone. Heaven has enlisted its armies on your behalf. Even now, angels are moving through your atmosphere, breaking invisible chains, reversing unseen words, mama, and silencing spiritual interference. The same power that raised Christ from the dead lives within you, and because of that, you cannot lose this war. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 1, verse 19. They will fight you but not overcome you, for I am with you, I will rescue you, declares the Lord. Understand this: the spiritual war around you is not about who you are now. It's about who you're becoming. The enemy doesn't attack the ordinary. He targets the anointed. Your very existence irritates darkness because you remind it of the light it lost. Every time you refuse to give up, you prove that God's plan is still working through you. Sometimes, spiritual warfare looks like exhaustion. Sometimes it looks like everything going wrong at once. But even in that chaos, God is teaching you endurance. He is teaching you that power doesn't always feel powerful. It often feels like persistence. The enemy's greatest weapon is deception, but your greatest defense is discernment. Chosen one. This is why God isolates you sometimes. He removes distractions so you can hear his voice clearly amid the noise. There are assignments he cannot give you while you're surrounded by confusion. The separation you feel is sacred. It is heaven training you in silence while the world misunderstands your stillness. Do not be afraid of the strange seasons. When everything feels like it's falling apart, it's often because heaven is rearranging the battlefield in your favor. The very pressure meant to break you is shaping you for authority. You will soon speak from a place of power that only battle-tested faith can produce. Remember this truth: darkness always exposes itself before it is defeated. The closer you are to breakthrough, the more chaotic the resistance becomes. It is a sign, not of failure, but of proximity. The noise increases before victory. The tension rises before release. You are closer than you think. Your calling demands a higher awareness. Begin to recognize when the war intensifies. It's not punishment. It's promotion. Every test is evidence that heaven trusts you with greater responsibility. You are being trained to move not by emotion, but by revelation. You are learning to discern when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move and when to wait. And in the midst of it all, remember the outcome has already been written. You are fighting from victory, not for it. The cross settled that long ago. Your job is not to fear the dark, but to keep shining in it. Even a flicker of your light terrifies the shadows because it reminds them that their time is short. So stand firm. Beloved, the war is real, but so is your protection. You are not outnumbered, you are overshadowed by grace. God Himself walks with you through every hidden battlefield. And soon, what was once a silent war will become a public testimony of His power working through your life. Chosen one, you have felt the shift. Those smiles that used to feel warm now seem hollow. Those conversations that once carried comfort now feel coated with something false. You sense it not in words, but in energy. The masks around you are starting to slip. What was once hidden under polite laughter is being revealed by divine light. The truth is surfacing not to hurt you, but to heal you from illusions. You are seeing people as they truly are, not as they pretended to be. That's not cruelty, it's clarity. You prayed for discernment, and heaven answered. The ones who once acted like supporters have shown their true intentions. Some were never assigned to celebrate your calling, they were sent to study your weakness. Yet even their betrayal cannot cancel your blessing. What they meant for harm, God is already rewriting into wisdom. This unveiling is sacred. God doesn't reveal truth to embarrass others, He reveals it to educate His chosen. You are learning to see beyond words, to hear beyond tones, to feel beyond gestures. You are realizing that not everyone who says "I'm proud of you" truly means it. But take heart, this revelation is not about paranoia, it's about preparation. Heaven is teaching you who can walk with you into your next season. There were times you ignored your intuition because you wanted to believe the best in people. You gave chances to those who didn't deserve access, and yet God still covered you. Even when you didn't protect yourself, He did. Every false friend, every deceptive ally, every jealous heart, none of them went unnoticed. The Lord saw every performance, every secret conversation, every quiet plan. And He has decided that the masks must fall. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. You are being refined in discernment. The Spirit of the Lord is training your senses to detect what is pure and what is polluted. The flattery, the sudden interest, the subtle manipulation, all of it is losing its power over you. You are no longer fooled by charm or trapped by guilt. Your eyes are adjusting to the light of truth, and the pretenders cannot stand its brightness. This exposure is also grace. God could have left you blind, surrounded by false comfort. Instead, He opened your eyes because He loves you too much to let you be deceived. Every truth revealed now is a shield against deeper betrayal later. Be grateful for what is being shown, even if it hurts. Pain is the proof of purification. Do not harden your heart. Let discernment grow, but let compassion remain. Forgive those who pretended, not because they deserve it, but because you refuse to let bitterness anchor your spirit. You are ascending, and forgiveness is your passport. Anger will only weigh you down. Chosen one, remember what people do behind your back says more about their character than your value. Their gossip is a confession of envy, not an indictment of you. The more they talk, the more heaven elevates you. The masks are falling, and what remains will be the pure, the faithful, the few who truly walk with you in purpose. And now, take a moment to affirm what heaven is doing in the comments. Write "I see clearly," because this declaration is more than words, it's a prophetic act. When you type it, you are aligning yourself with divine discernment. You are telling the unseen realm that you choose revelation over illusion, clarity over confusion, truth over appearance. You are agreeing with heaven that from this day forward, deception has no power over you. What is being revealed in this season may sting, but it is also setting you free. You will no longer mistake companionship for covenant. You will no longer confuse attention with affection. The masks are falling because God is preparing you to lead without illusions. So walk boldly into the light. Let truth do its work. Every false connection that fades is making room for divine ones to form. You are entering a season of genuine alignment where your circle will carry the same fire, the same purpose, the same purity of heart. And when you look around, you'll no longer see masks, you'll see mirrors reflecting your own growth and grace. The exposure is not your ending. Chosen one, it is your exodus. And the same God who parted seas for Moses is now parting deception from your destiny. Stand still. Watch him move. The masks are falling, and your freedom is unfolding. Chosen one, the whispers of jealousy have circled you like a storm. You have felt them in the air, envy disguised as advice, competition dressed up as concern. Yet the truth is, they never hated your possessions. They feared your presence. What unsettled them was not what you held in your hands, but what you carried in your spirit. You are marked by heaven, and that mark disturbs every unhealed soul that encounters you. The spirit of jealousy is ancient. It moved through Cain when he looked at Abel's offering. It moved through Saul when he heard the songs of David. It still moves through hearts that cannot comprehend why God favors you despite your flaws. You have not done anything wrong. Your very existence becomes a reminder to them of what obedience can produce. And because they refused surrender, they resent your submission. This jealousy is not personal. It's spiritual. The light you carry exposes their unwillingness to grow. The grace you walk in reveals the stagnation they've accepted. And though they smile and say they're happy for you, something in their tone betrays their true emotion. But take heart, jealousy cannot stop destiny. It may hiss, but it cannot bite when you walk in divine protection. You've asked yourself, why do they treat me like this when I've done nothing but love them? The answer is found not in your actions, but in your anointing. God's favor creates friction with those who operate from comparison. The oil on your life magnifies what others suppress. You are not responsible for their reaction to your radiance. Keep shining. We are reminded through the writings of Solomon in the book of Proverbs in chapter 14, verse 30. A heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. That verse holds a warning not only for them, but also for you. Guard your heart. Do not let their bitterness become your burden. Do not mirror their pettiness. The moment you start competing, you step out of covenant. Stay still in grace. Your peace is your proof of strength. Understand this. Beloved, envy often hides behind imitation. Some will copy your words, your style, even your spiritual language, not out of admiration, but out of insecurity. They want your glow without your grind, your crown without your cross. Yet what they do not realize is that favor is not transferable. What God gave you is tailor-made, forged through trials only you could endure. Do not waste your energy explaining your journey to those committed to misunderstanding it. Let your results speak. Let your consistency silence their speculation. In time, even those who doubted you will have to admit that it was God who sustained you. There will come moments when you will see them win for a while, and your heart may question the fairness of heaven. But understand, temporary success built on jealousy collapses under its own corruption. True elevation requires purity of intent. You have chosen the harder path to rejoice when others rise, to bless when others curse, to pray when others plot. And because of that, heaven is recording your restraint as righteousness. Do not curse them. Chosen one. Their envy is evidence of your impact. The fact that you stir their emotions means your presence carries weight. You are a walking revelation of what obedience can manifest. Your very peace provokes them because it cannot be fabricated. So, remain calm when they gossip. Stay gracious when they distance themselves. You are not fighting for approval, you are walking in assignment. Jealousy is powerless against a heart that refuses offense. When you love them anyway, you disarm the spirit working through them. When you choose forgiveness, you break the cycle of comparison. This is how you win, not by proving, but by preserving your purity. And though you may walk alone for a time, remember this solitude is sanctified. God is creating space between you and those who can't celebrate your calling. You are not losing people. You are losing pollution. He is surrounding you with those who will see your light and not be threatened by it, those who will cheer, not compete, protect, not pretend. So lift your head, beloved. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. Let your light shine fully. Those who carry true peace will be drawn to you, and those who thrive on envy will quietly exit. This is how heaven cleanses your atmosphere. Stay pure. Stay grounded. The jealousy of others is nothing compared to the joy of knowing you are walking in divine purpose. You were chosen to shine, not to compare. And in time, even the envious will have to admit God's hand has been on you all along. Chosen one. There are conversations you were never meant to hear, yet heaven heard every word, behind closed doors, where laughter turns into whispers and smiles fade into secrets. They spoke your name. Words have weight in the spirit, and their words tried to build prisons around your purpose. But what they did not know is that heaven records every syllable. The very wind carries their intentions before the throne of God. Do not fear what was said behind your back, for God has already walked into the room you were excluded from. You are not forgotten, you are defended. The unseen court of heaven has taken your case, and the judge of all creation has ruled in your favor. Every secret plot is now becoming a public platform for your promotion. Think of it like this: a seed must be buried before it can rise. The dirt that covers it looks like a burial, but it's actually protection. The soil that pressed against you was not meant to suffocate you. It was meant to surround you until it was safe for your roots to grow. Every whisper, every betrayal, every false assumption has become fertilizer for your faith. Sometimes God lets you hear fragments of the truth not to break you, but to brace you. He doesn't want you to live in suspicion. He wants you to stand in discernment. When people talk in secret, heaven simply says, "Watch what I do next." You may never confront them, but you will see the consequence of their own words unfold before your eyes. According to what is revealed in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, verse 20. Do not revile the king even in your thoughts, or curse the rich in your bedroom, because a bird in the sky may carry your words, and a bird on the wing may report what you say. Every word spoken in secret has wings. It travels through spiritual airways, carrying both blessing and curse. But for the righteous, even curses are converted into confirmations. What they spoke to diminish you will end up directing you. Their gossip became the wind that lifted you higher. You are not meant to chase rumors. You are meant to rise above them. The truth is like the sunrise, it cannot be hidden for long. What they said in darkness will meet the dawn. And when that light comes, it will not expose your shame. It will expose your innocence. Beloved, keep your peace. God does not need your defense. He only asks for your trust. The silence of the chosen is more powerful than the noise of the jealous. When you refuse to respond, heaven responds for you. Sometimes your vindication won't come through arguments, it will come through outcomes. They will see your fruit, and it will silence their lies. When God blesses you in plain sight of those who doubted you, that blessing becomes its own testimony. Think of a tree growing quietly in the dark soil. It does not shout while growing. It simply reaches. Then one day, leaves appear, branches stretch, and shade begins to fall. Those who once mocked the seed now stand beneath its branches, seeking comfort. That's what God is doing with you. The same ones who spoke against you will soon witness the beauty of what they could not kill. And when that day comes, stay humble. Do not gloat. Remember, mercy is your crown. Your rise is not a reason for revenge, but a revelation of God's goodness. You are a vessel of grace, not a collector of grudges. Chosen one. If this word touches your heart, let it flow forward. Like this message, not for the messenger, but as a sign of gratitude that God still speaks. Share it so another weary soul can find peace in knowing heaven hears even the whispers. Subscribe if you want to stay connected to these prophetic streams of strength. And if your heart feels led, donate not as payment, but as planting. Every seed you sow helps this message reach further, touching others who need to remember they are seen, known, and protected. You are part of something divine, a chain of light stretching across the earth, linking chosen ones who refuse to let darkness win. Your support, your engagement, your prayers, they are not small gestures, they are spiritual echoes amplifying heaven's voice in this world of noise. So walk on with your head high. Let them talk. Let them whisper. The same air that carried their words will carry your testimony back to them. You don't need to defend yourself when heaven has already spoken. You just keep shining, keep serving, keep sowing, because every secret conversation against you is about to become a visible confirmation of who you truly are. Chosen one, divine surveillance has been activated over your life. God has seen every plot formed in hidden places, every whisper that carried your name, every snare designed to delay you. Nothing escapes his sight. The unseen battles you faced were not ignored. They were being recorded in heaven's ledger. Even when you thought no one was watching, the Lord was taking notes. And now, his justice is moving. You have been walking under the eyes of heaven. Every tear you cried in silence, every decision you made when no one was applauding, every act of obedience that cost you something, none of it went unnoticed. God saw when you stayed faithful after being forgotten. He saw when you loved even after being betrayed. The one who watches over Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps, and he has not forgotten your faithfulness. You are coming into a season of divine reversal. Those who thought they could outmaneuver your destiny will soon realize they were only instruments sharpening your discernment. Their deceit became the very thing that trained you to listen for God's voice above human opinion. What the enemy built as a trap, heaven has turned into training ground. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 54, verse 17. No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and this is their vindication from me, declares the Lord. Every plot formed against you is now self-destructing. Every false word is being reversed. Every snare set for your fall is transforming into a step for your rise. God has intercepted every attempt to sabotage your peace. The divine surveillance system of heaven is not for control, it is for protection. You have been under divine watch, and your guardian angels have been busier than you realize. Think about this when a shepherd watches over his flock. The sheep do not always see the wolves hiding in the distance, yet the shepherd is already preparing his rod and staff. In the same way, God has seen the predators circling your purpose, and he has already drawn his line of defense. Some attacks never reached you because his hand intercepted them in the unseen. You may never know how many times God has blocked what was meant to break you, how many accidents you never had, how many betrayals you never discovered, how many traps never triggered because his eyes were upon you. This is not paranoia, it is protection. You are surrounded by unseen grace. There is no darkness so deep that it can hide from his gaze. The same light that exposes evil also illuminates your path. The season you are in may feel quiet, but it is heavily guarded. Heaven has stationed watchers around your name. Every spiritual weapon pointed toward you is being dismantled before it even reaches your door. And now, the Lord says, do not fear the watchers of men. Remember the watchers of heaven. The spiritual surveillance is not only defensive, it is diagnostic. God sees not only what others do to you, but also what still hides within you. He exposes pride, pain, and unhealed wounds not to shame you, but to refine you. You are being sanctified under sacred observation. There are people who wonder why they cannot touch you anymore, why their manipulation no longer works. It is because divine restriction has been placed on your behalf. Every curse spoken against you now rebounds. Every slandered word turns to dust before it lands. Every wicked intention collapses under the weight of God's justice. You are untouchable when you remain aligned with obedience. Chosen one. It's time to rest in that assurance. You don't have to watch everyone when God is watching everything. Let go of suspicion. Walk freely in peace. The one who sees all things has already seen the end of this battle. Now, make a prophetic declaration. Type 888 in the comments below. 8, the number of new beginnings and divine alignment. When you do, you are declaring that the surveillance of heaven is not against you but for you. You are confirming that every unseen movement of God is working in your favor, bringing exposure to lies and elevation to truth. Heaven's eyes are upon you, not to intimidate but to illuminate. You are surrounded, safeguarded, and sustained. What others planned behind your back is collapsing before your eyes. Divine justice is not coming, it has already begun. So walk boldly, chosen one. Every hidden attack is already accounted for. Every secret scheme is already undone. You are under divine surveillance, wrapped in the watchful mercy of the Almighty. Nothing formed against you can stand, for the one who sees all is fighting for you even now. Chosen one, the sound of shifting is in the air. You may not see it yet, but heaven is turning the tables. The same situations that once embarrassed you are about to elevate you. The same voices that mocked you will soon have to mention your name with respect. God is not just defending you, He is displaying you. You have endured seasons of silence, misunderstanding, and misjudgment. But those chapters were not wasted. They were divine setups for this very moment. Everything they meant for harm is transforming into holy advantage. What looked like loss was preparation for leverage. What seemed like delay was divine synchronization. The traps that were meant to catch you have become the very tools that will carry you forward. The Lord is not merely restoring balance, He is rewriting outcomes. This is the turning of the tables where pain becomes platform, betrayal becomes blessing, and tears become testimony. When you look back, you will see that every reversal had purpose. The valley was not punishment, it was process. The rejection that once broke your heart was God's redirection toward something greater. You thought they were blocking you, but they were actually building you. Every no became the scaffolding for your next. Every door that shut became a signpost pointing toward destiny. The Word of God declares in the book of Genesis, chapter 50, verse 20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." This is your Joseph moment. You were thrown into pits of misunderstanding and sold out by those you trusted. Yet what the enemy used to bury you has become the ground from which you are about to rise. The tables are turning not in chaos but in calm, silent power. God does not need noise to make His move. While others plot loudly, He plans quietly. Think of a chessboard. The pieces shift subtly, one move at a time. The opponent may smirk, thinking they've cornered the king, but then, with a single decisive move, everything changes. Checkmate. That is what God is doing now in your life. Every slow, hidden adjustment is leading toward a sudden victory that no one will be able to deny. Do not rush this reversal. Divine justice is methodical. Sometimes God delays not because He is unsure, but because He is setting the stage so that when He moves, no one can question it. You've been waiting, praying, wondering when it will be your turn. And heaven whispers now, it already is. The shift began the moment you stopped retaliating and started resting in faith. You have been walking through a reversal season where tables are literally turning in your favor. The very people who misused your kindness will now witness your elevation. They will see that their mockery did not minimize you, it magnified the grace of God upon your life. You don't need revenge when God Himself becomes your vindication. The winds of change are subtle but strong. What was once used against you is becoming a stepping stone. The ridicule you endured has refined your humility. The betrayal you survived has birthed your discernment. Every weapon that failed to destroy you has turned into wisdom that now protects you. And as these tables turn, remember, humility is your anchor. The higher God lifts you, the lower your heart must bow. Don't allow victory to make you arrogant. The same hand that turns the tables can also steady them. And that hand deserves all glory. The purpose of your rise is not to prove a point, it's to point others toward God. Your turnaround will be undeniable, but it must also be unshakable. Stay grounded. When the spotlight shines on your life, let your peace be the proof that your success is sustained by surrender, not pride. This reversal is not coming to harm anyone, it's coming to highlight justice. God is not replacing revenge with wrath. He's replacing disorder with divine order. Everything out of balance is being set right. You are moving from survival to stability, from hiddenness to honor. So breathe deeply. Chosen one. The struggle is shifting. The valley is reversing. The pit has become a platform. God is not finished writing your story. He's flipping the page. Every tear, every delay, every betrayal is part of a script that ends in glory. The tables are turning, and soon you'll see everything that worked against you is now working for you. Chosen one, you have felt it, the slow drifting away of people you once thought would walk beside you forever. Their absence stings. The silence after their departure feels like a hollow echo in a place that used to be filled with laughter. But hear this clearly: what looks like separation is divine strategy. Heaven is pulling you away from what no longer serves your soul, not because of rejection, but because of redirection. God's love sometimes arrives disguised as distance. When He begins to separate you, it rarely feels comfortable. It can feel like being stripped, like walking alone through a wilderness of uncertainty. Yet that space, that quiet distance, is holy ground. It is there that your spiritual lungs expand again after being suffocated by false alignment. The separation is sacred surgery, painful but necessary. The Lord never subtracts without the intention to multiply. He removes certain people not out of cruelty, but because He knows that their presence would corrupt your promise. You've been praying for clarity, and this is it. The pruning is proof of preparation. When vines are trimmed, the gardener isn't destroying them, he is ensuring they bear more fruit. In the same way, God is pruning your circle so your spirit can thrive. You have carried relationships that drained you, hoping loyalty could heal dysfunction. You have walked beside people who praised you publicly but competed with you privately. You have kept peace at the cost of your own voice. But heaven whispers, no more. The old attachments cannot go where the new anointing is taking you. You are not meant to shrink to fit into the same spaces you've already outgrown. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 2. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit He prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. These are not words of punishment. They are promises of purpose. You are being refined, not rejected. The pruning may feel like loss, but it is actually God's protection in disguise. Every person removed from your life right now is part of the divine equation for your growth. Some were seasonal, not eternal. Others were distractions dressed as destiny. The Lord is making room for what is real, for what will last. When you find yourself alone, remember that even Jesus withdrew from the crowd to pray. Isolation is the incubator of revelation. It is in solitude that your spirit sharpens, your discernment deepens, and your faith strengthens. God is using this quiet to remind you that you were never meant to depend on the applause of men for affirmation. The silence you hear is not abandonment. It is God's classroom. Sometimes, we mourn relationships that were never truly aligned with our purpose. We chase what God already closed, thinking we can fix what was never blessed. But every goodbye orchestrated by heaven carries a hidden hello. You will look back one day and thank God for the doors that stayed shut, for the hands that let go, for the conversations that never happened. You may feel lonely now, but you are not alone. The Spirit of the living God walks with you through this transition. He sits with you in the quiet and whispers peace into the spaces others once filled. You are being prepared to stand without dependency, to love without fear, to walk without needing validation. The separation will teach you to see people as assignments, not attachments. Some were meant to teach lessons, not stay for life. You will soon recognize that not everyone who leaves is an enemy. Some are simply finished fulfilling their purpose in your story. Release them with grace. Bless them on their way. Your maturity will shine brighter than your pain. Every tear shed during this pruning is watering your next level. Every empty space is an invitation for divine filling. The quieter your circle becomes, the clearer God's voice will sound. You are entering a season where peace will no longer have to be fought for. It will flow naturally because the sources of chaos have been removed. So breathe. Don't chase what walked away. Don't beg for what bowed out. Trust that the same hand that separated you is the one preparing your surroundings for new covenant connections. Souls that will align, not compete. Voices that will lift, not limit. This season is not the end of companionship. It's the cleansing before divine connection. You are being recalibrated for relationships that honor your calling, not hinder it. The solitude you feel now is heaven sweeping the floor before the feast begins. Be still, chosen one. The separation is not a sentence, it is a sanctification. When the dust settles, you will see that God never took anything away from you that you truly needed. He only removed what would have destroyed you if it stayed. Chosen one. Betrayal has a weight that words cannot describe. It doesn't just pierce your heart, it echoes in your spirit. You trusted deeply, loved sincerely, believed purely, and still found yourself wounded by the very hands you once held. The pain of betrayal is unlike any other because it comes wearing a familiar face. Yet even in this heartbreak, heaven has not abandoned you. The pain you carry is not punishment, it is purification. There are tears that only God can interpret. Those silent cries that soak your pillow in the middle of the night are not lost in darkness. They are recorded, remembered, and redeemed. You have been misunderstood by people you would have bled for, and still, you did not harden your heart. That, beloved, is strength. That is divine endurance disguised as vulnerability. You have learned that love without discernment leads to wounds. But even those wounds, when surrendered to God, become the very proof that you loved like Christ fully, freely, even when it cost you. Your heart has been broken, but it was never abandoned. Every piece that fell apart has been gathered by unseen hands, restored with gold like the art of divine repair. It is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 18. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. He saves the crushed. Those low in spirit, He lifts them up. That verse is not just comfort, it is covenant. It means that your brokenness has summoned heaven's closeness. When others left, God drew near. When people betrayed your trust, He became your safe place. You have been wounded, yes, but not wasted. Out of every scar will rise a story that sets others free. There is a holy mystery in pain. It reveals who truly stands beside you when everything else falls apart. Some betrayals exposed motives, others exposed yourself, your need to be needed. Your habit of overgiving, your hope that people could carry what only God was meant to hold. Don't despise the lesson. The pain was a teacher that pride would have silenced. You are being refined by heartbreaks. The fire of betrayal has burned away illusion, leaving only truth. You now see who truly loved you, who merely used you, and who was assigned for a season, not a lifetime. That clarity, though costly, is sacred. It is heaven's way of simplifying your path for the next chapter. Do not carry bitterness as a souvenir of survival. Let forgiveness become your flag of victory. Forgiveness is not pretending it didn't hurt, it's proclaiming that it will not control you. Every time you choose to release what wronged you, you make space for God's justice to breathe. And when He breathes, everything shifts. Your tears have watered a field of mercy. The harvest will not be vengeance, it will be vision. You will look back and realize that the betrayal was the push that propelled you into your purpose. You wouldn't have left certain environments if loyalty hadn't turned to lies. God allowed the knife to fall, not to end you, but to sever what could not stay attached to your destiny. You are stronger now, not bitter but built, not jaded but justified. Your pain did not destroy you, it defined you. The same heart that was once pierced now beats with purpose. You carry a softness that hell cannot corrupt, a tenderness that only survivors of sorrow understand. Now, chosen one, take this moment and seal it with declaration. In the comments, write, "I forgive fully." Do not write it for them, write it for yourself. This is your release, your exhale, your holy rebellion against bitterness. When you type those words, you are not minimizing your pain. You are maximizing your peace. You are saying to heaven, "I trust your justice more than my own anger." You are proving to the unseen realm that you would rather heal than hate. And once you forgive, watch how quickly God begins to move. He cannot fill hands that are still gripping offense. But the moment you open your palms, the wind of restoration rushes in. What you thought was lost will return in better form. New relationships, deeper faith, clearer vision. Even now, the divine exchange has begun. The same heart that was shattered is being shaped into something stronger. You are not defined by betrayal. You are refined by it. Those who betrayed you may never apologize, but heaven will vindicate. The pain that once silenced you will soon empower you to speak with wisdom that only the wounded can carry. So walk on, chosen and unbroken. Let your tears fall, they are cleansing you for clarity. The wound will close, the memory will soften, and the same love that once made you vulnerable will now make you victorious. For the Lord is close to you still, whispering through your healing. You are mine. You are safe. You are stronger than you think. Chosen one. Heaven is preparing the moment you've waited for your vindication. This is not the shallow kind of validation that comes from applause. This is divine justice dressed in mercy. God is about to prove that your integrity was not in vain, that your silence was not weakness, and that your waiting was not wasted. Those who misunderstood you will soon witness the truth unfold before their eyes. You will not need to explain yourself. Your elevation will do that for you. Vindication is heaven's way of saying, "I saw it all. Every rumor you ignored, every accusation you endured, every moment you stayed kind when cruelty surrounded you, none of it was unseen." God has been writing your defense in invisible ink. And now, the light of His glory is revealing it line by line. You are not being rewarded simply for surviving. You are being celebrated for obeying when it would have been easier to retaliate. Picture a painter before a half-finished canvas. To those passing by, the image seems chaotic, streaks of color, messy lines, unclear shapes. They scoff, assuming the work is flawed. But when the artist adds the final brushstroke, what was once misunderstood becomes a masterpiece. That is your life. Beloved, the world saw you mid-process, and they misjudged the art. But the artist is about to step back and reveal what he's been creating through your pain. We are reminded through the writings of the Apostle Paul in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9. Do not grow weary in doing what's good, for in due time we will reap harvest if we don't give up. You are standing in that proper time. The season of reaping is arriving, and your harvest will not be ordinary. It will be redemptive. God will not just return what was taken, He will multiply it. The same mouths that spoke against you will bless you unknowingly. The same places where you were rejected will open their doors in welcome. This is the rhythm of divine justice. It moves not in haste, but in harmony. Vindication often comes wrapped in quiet miracles. Sometimes it looks like peace that no one can explain. Sometimes it's a new opportunity that fits you so perfectly it feels like destiny itself designed it. Sometimes it's the stillness that follows when you stop defending yourself and start resting in God's defense. Whatever form it takes, it will arrive unmistakably marked with grace. Your reputation was never your responsibility. Your righteousness is. You did not lose credibility. You gained credibility with heaven. The tests you faced built a record of endurance that no lie can erase. And now, God is positioning you where your truth will shine without you having to say a word. Vindication is not about revenge, it's about revelation, showing who was truly anchored in light all along. Beloved, if this word finds you in the middle of exhaustion, hold steady. You are closer to your public redemption than you realize. The wheel of divine timing is turning, and when it completes its cycle, everything that once worked against you will begin working for you. You will see the wisdom of waiting. Let this message reach others who need it as much as you once did. Like this message, if it resonates with your spirit, it's not for numbers, but for connection. Share it so that another weary soul might remember that heaven always settles accounts in its own time. Subscribe if you wish to stay aligned with these divine whispers, walking together as chosen ones across this digital wilderness. And if you feel led, donate not as a transaction but as a seed. Think of it as placing a small candle on the altar, helping the flame reach further into the world. Every contribution you sow is light fuel. It keeps these words flowing into hearts that might otherwise remain in the dark. Your giving becomes your echo in eternity, a silent sermon that says, I believe in what God is doing here. Like a lighthouse standing firm through the storm, your support keeps this message burning through the fog of despair. Every amen you whisper, every seed you release, every share you send it is part of a larger movement of light. You're not just listening, you're helping heaven speak through this space. Chosen one. Soon you'll see you were never being overlooked, you were being observed. The silence before vindication is not emptiness, it's incubation. The truth about you is maturing like fruit on a tree, ripening in time for the world to taste and see that God's hand has been with you all along. So rest now. The defense has already been written. The evidence is being revealed. And the verdict from heaven is clear, innocent, faithful, favored. Your vindication is not coming, it's here. Chosen one, there were moments when you questioned everything, your path, your timing, even the voice of God that once felt so clear. You thought the detours were delays, that the pauses were punishments. But now heaven whispers a different truth. Every closed road was divine protection. Every delay was God's defense working in silence. What looked like rejection was really redirection, preserving you from dangers you didn't even know existed. You see, protection doesn't always look like safety, it often looks like loss. Sometimes God shields you by denying what you prayed for. You thought you missed an opportunity, but the truth is, you dodged a disaster. The meeting that fell through, the friend who withdrew, the door that wouldn't open, each was a wall built by heaven to save you from a wound. The absence that broke your heart was the evidence of God's care. There were people you wanted to keep, but God saw their intentions. There were places you wanted to stay, but God knew their atmosphere would suffocate your spirit. He closed certain doors, not because you weren't qualified, but because those doors opened to corridors of compromise. His no was not cruelty, it was foresight. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 121, verse 7. The Lord will keep you from all harm, He will watch over your life. That promise does not mean you'll never face trouble. It means that when trouble comes, it cannot take you. Harm may approach, but it will not prevail. You are wrapped in a divine perimeter. Even the battles you lost were boundaries meant to save your soul. God has been your unseen shield, deflecting arrows you never saw, dismantling plots you never perceived, silencing words before they could pierce your spirit. There were nights when you thought heaven was quiet, but it was actually active. Angels were rearranging the unseen, redirecting the enemy's attacks. replacing destruction with delay. God was slowing you down to save your destiny. Every unanswered prayer was an invisible interception. Think of a shepherd guiding his sheep through the mountains. The sheep see only a narrow path and wonder why the shepherd suddenly stops them from moving forward. But beyond the ridge lies a cliff of fall they would never survive. To the sheep, the pause feels cruel. To the shepherd, it's compassion. That's how divine protection works. You were never abandoned, you were being steered. There is a holy intelligence behind every obstacle you faced. That heartbreak that left you gasping was actually the closing of a chapter that would have crippled your calling. The job that slipped through your fingers was a trap disguised as opportunity. The friendship that faded was a shield you didn't know you needed. Heaven's no's were loud with love, you just couldn't hear it over your longing. Sometimes, the greatest miracles are the ones that never happened. The accident you avoided. The message you didn't send. The partnership that collapsed before it began. The rejection letter that spared your reputation. You will never know how much destruction was rerouted while you wept over delay. But protection is not just about what God stops, it's also about what He sustains. Even in moments when your faith wavered, your life did not collapse. When your heart cracked, it did not crumble. When people withdrew, your purpose remained intact. That is preservation. You are still standing because His hand never lifted. Do not resent the walls God built around you. They are not prisons, they are perimeters of purpose. Every boundary He draws is a line between your potential and your peril. Stay inside the fence of His will. There is freedom in that obedience. When you stop fighting the reroutes, you start flowing with grace. Chosen one, take a deep breath and look around. Everything that fell apart could have destroyed you, but it didn't. You may have scars, but you're still moving. You may have questions, but you're still chosen. That's what divine protection looks like. It's not the absence of struggle. It's the assurance of survival. So the next time a door closes, bless it. The next time a plan collapses, thank Him. You don't yet see the cliffs you were spared from, but one day the view from safety will make sense of the journey. God's hand has been guarding you in ways the human eye cannot measure. Every delay was a deliverance. Every no was a new beginning. Every detour was direction disguised as difficulty. Your path remains secure, even when it twists. You have been kept for purpose, and soon, you'll realize that what felt like wandering was really wisdom leading you home. Chosen one. The hour of unveiling is here. The Spirit of God is exposing motives, those hidden beneath smiles, those wrapped in flattery, those disguised as friendship. Heaven has decided that confusion must end. You will no longer walk blind among pretenders. The light of discernment is rising within you, and it will reveal everything that once hid in shadows. This exposure is not punishment, it is purification. God is not trying to embarrass anyone. He is ensuring your next season is surrounded only by truth. You have prayed for peace, but peace cannot dwell where pretense resides. So now, the Lord is gently removing every disguise one by one. Those whose hearts were impure will find themselves fading from your orbit, not because you pushed them away, but because the light now around you makes deception uncomfortable. There was a time when you mistook attention for affection, when you believed loyalty was as sacred to others as it was to you. But heaven has shown you the difference between those who love your light and those who crave your spotlight. That revelation, though painful, is holy. It's how God ensures that your destiny won't be delayed by distractions disguised as devotion. You've been sensing this shift already. Faces that once felt familiar now carry an uneasy energy. Words that once comforted you now sound hollow. That's discernment. God sharpening your spiritual senses so you can recognize spirit before speech, intent before action. The gift of sight is returning to your soul. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 5. He will bring to light what is hidden in darkness and will expose the motives of the heart. At that time, each will receive their praise from God. This is the season of separation and sight. The divine searchlight is scanning through every layer of your life. Some motives will shine pure and golden, while others will turn to dust under truth's heat. But do not fear what is revealed. Revelation always precedes restoration. God cannot bless what he cannot first expose. Think of a sculptor chiseling marble. To the untrained eye, it looks destructive, shards flying, edges cracking. But every strike of the hammer reveals form, removes excess, uncovers beauty that was buried. That's what God is doing in your relationships, your opportunities, your path. Every crack you hear is a correction. Every loss is an unveiling. The sculpture of your destiny is emerging. This unveiling is also happening within you. God is revealing motives you didn't know you had, those subtle fears, quiet insecurities, and small traces of pride that could have corroded your purpose later. Don't resist the process. When he shines light inside you, it's not to shame you, but to free you. You can't carry hidden heaviness into holy ground. You might feel exposed, vulnerable, even stripped. But remember, exposure in God's hands is not destruction. It's deliverance. The closer you walk with truth, the lighter you become. Lies weigh down the spirit, but honesty makes it soar. This revelation will also bring clarity to your calling. You will begin to recognize where to invest your energy, whom to trust, and which battles are worth fighting. You will see that some people weren't bad, they were just not built for your level of growth. Their motives were not malicious, merely mismatched. The light of discernment allows you to bless them and move on without bitterness. God is not just revealing people, he is revealing patterns. The same cycles that kept repeating disappointment, misuse, misunderstanding are being traced back to their roots. Once you see them, you'll never step into them again. Your awareness will become your armor. And when the dust of revelation settles, your circle may look smaller, but it will be stronger. What remains will be pure. The few who stay will carry the same fire, the same reverence, the same hunger for righteousness. God is building covenant connections that will not collapse under pressure. So as heaven unveils the motives around and within you, take this as your prophetic act of agreement. In the comments, type 4404. This number symbolizes divine clarity, heavenly order, and the manifestation of truth. When you write it, you're not just typing digits, you're aligning with heaven's light. You're declaring, I choose truth over comfort, discernment over deception, revelation over illusion. This is your moment of divine insight. You will no longer walk blindly. The fog is lifting, the masks are falling, and the truth is marching forward like dawn breaking after a long night. The very eyes that once wept in confusion will now see with confidence. Chosen one. Stand in the light. Don't fear what's exposed, celebrate it. Every revelation is an answered prayer in disguise. And as clarity replaces confusion, your path will glow brighter, your peace will deepen, and your destiny will unfold exactly as heaven designed it. Chosen one, you have endured loss upon loss. Relationships fading, opportunities collapsing, seasons shifting without warning. You've stood in the ashes of things you thought would last forever, asking heaven, why take so much? But even now, the Lord whispers, what I take, I transform. What I remove, I replace with glory. The pain you've known was never wasted. Every wound was a doorway, every absence a space for divine exchange. You have been through enough breaking to understand that blessing rarely enters gently. It comes through disruption, through sudden shifts that tear comfort from your grip. Yet, what follows is always better than what was lost. You are in the season of divine exchange where every betrayal becomes a blessing, every setback becomes a setup, and every scar becomes a sign of survival. God is a restorer, not a recycler. He doesn't give you back what was, He gives you back what's better. Look back on the chapters of your story. For every door that shut, didn't another eventually open? For every person who left, didn't God send someone truer, even if only for a moment? For every delay, didn't something deeper take root inside you? Patience, wisdom, strength. That's the divine pattern heaven never takes without intending to give something of greater value in return. We find in the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25, I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm and the caterpillar and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. That verse is a promise for every place that feels barren. Restoration is not about recovering what was eaten. It's about receiving what was hidden. God's compensation exceeds your calculation. He doesn't just refill the cup, He overflows it. The years you thought were wasted are about to bear fruit faster than the ones you thought were productive. Consider the way a tree grows after it has been pruned. At first, the cutting seems cruel branches removed, form disfigured. But soon, new shoots appear, stronger and richer than before. What looked like loss was really preparation for abundance. That is the rhythm of divine exchange, subtraction before multiplication, silence before song, ashes before beauty. You have lost things that can't be replaced, and heaven does not ignore that grief. God doesn't rush your mourning, He meets you in it. Even as He rebuilds, He acknowledges what broke. Your tears are not signs of unbelief, they are part of the offering. The Father collects them, stores them, and uses them as water for your next harvest. This exchange is not only material, it is deeply spiritual. You are trading confusion for clarity, anxiety for assurance, weariness for wonder. The enemy thought he could leave you empty, but he miscalculated. Every loss carved more space in you for divine infilling. What was taken from your hands is being replaced by something eternal in your heart. And here's the beauty of it: divine exchange is not just restoration, it's elevation. What you're receiving now will not merely replace what was lost, it will surpass it. God is not bringing you back to where you were, He's raising you to where you were meant to be. The pain that once humbled you is now the platform that will honor you. You will see this exchange in unexpected ways. The relationships that failed will make room for connections that nourish. The job that ended will usher in opportunities aligned with purpose. The financial struggle that terrified you will be met by divine provision flowing from unseen sources. You will not need to chase anything. It will find you, drawn by obedience and faith. Heaven is balancing the scales. Where you gave without receiving, you will now receive without striving. Where you were overlooked, you will now be overfilled. Every investment of love, faith, and patience is returning with interest. The God who watched you lose is now orchestrating your gain. But remember, this divine exchange doesn't mean forgetting what was lost, it means finding meaning in it. It means holding gratitude even for the pain. Because without that breaking, your capacity for blessing would never have expanded. There will come a day when you will thank God for the things that didn't last. You will realize that if they had stayed, they would have limited you. The loss became liberation. The breaking became building. The emptiness became invitation. Chosen one, Your divine exchange is in motion. You are walking into rooms that once seemed unreachable, carrying peace where you once carried pain. Heaven's compensation is not coming, it's already unfolding. The ashes you hold will soon shimmer with gold, and every why will turn into a wow. Stay still in this sacred moment. Do not rush what God is restoring. Let the exchange complete its course, for when it does, you will look at your reflection and barely recognize the strength staring back. What was taken was temporary. What's being given is eternal. Chosen one, the loneliness that once felt like punishment has been your secret crown. The rejection that made you question your worth was actually heaven's confirmation that you are marked for something greater. The misunderstood, the misjudged, the overlooked, these are the ones heaven trains in silence before revealing them in splendor. You have been walking through the sacred fire of refinement, and now, a crown forged in that fire rests upon your spirit. To be chosen is to be separated. You were never meant to blend in. From childhood, something about you drew both favor and friction. People could not always explain why they loved you one moment and envied you the next. It was never about you, it was about what you carried. The oil upon your life made others uneasy, because light irritates what prefers to hide in shadows. Yet even then, God whispered, "Endure this, it's shaping you." The crown of the misunderstood is not adorned with jewels of ease, but with the scars of endurance. Every betrayal became a gem. Every lonely night became gold refined by tears. You have learned to hear God's voice in the absence of applause, to trust His timing when no one affirmed your calling. You are now stronger in solitude than you ever were surrounded by noise. It was proclaimed in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8. Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for His appearing. That promise stretches through time and lands upon your head. Your waiting, your weeping, your worship in secret, they have all been shaping you for the moment when heaven places that invisible crown upon you. It is not a crown of ego, but of endurance. You are being rewarded for what others never saw. Think of a sculptor working in the dark of night, chiseling a statue no one admires yet. To those passing by, it looks like a lonely labor, pointless and endless. But when morning breaks and the sun hits the stone, beauty emerges that was always there, hidden beneath dust and diligence. That is you, chosen one. You have been carved in secret so that your unveiling would be undeniable. You were misunderstood because your process was private. People judged what they couldn't define. They assumed the silence meant stagnation, when in truth, God was building foundations too deep for shallow eyes to see. Every time you were overlooked, heaven took note. Every time you stayed faithful when unseen, God documented it in the archives of eternity. Your crown was not handed to you, it was hammered into existence. It was forged through rejection, loneliness, and perseverance. It is made not of gold, but of grace that carried you through confusion, grace that kept your heart soft even when others hardened theirs. Being misunderstood can feel like exile, but it's really enlistment. You are part of heaven's quiet army, the ones who change the world not with volume, but with vision. You carry a peace that terrifies chaos and a compassion that disarms cruelty. You are proof that holiness can exist in humanity, that purity can survive persecution. There is glory in your invisibility. The world values visibility, but heaven values preparation. The stage you are about to step onto required the solitude you once despised. Every silent season was sculpting your strength, teaching you to carry glory without pride and authority without arrogance. You no longer need validation. You've learned that divine approval outweighs public recognition. The ones who once doubted you will one day call you teacher. The same mouths that dismissed your name will soon repeat it in reverence. Not because you sought revenge, but because God will display His faithfulness through your life. This crown of the misunderstood will not weigh you down. It will steady you. It's the reminder that pain has purpose, that your scars are symbols of victory, not defeat. It will not shimmer with vanity, but with wisdom, the kind that only comes from walking through darkness and still choosing light. And though your path has been narrow, it has led you straight to destiny. The loneliness has not been wasted. It has birthed intimacy with heaven that few ever experience. You are no longer simply surviving misunderstanding, you are mastering meaning. You've learned that to be chosen is to be called apart, to carry something too holy for common company. Chosen one, the hour has come for you to rise. The storms that tried to silence you were never meant to end you. They were sent to announce you. You are stepping into your prophetic uprising, the moment when everything God whispered in private begins to echo in public. The shaking you felt in your spirit is not destruction, it's activation. Heaven is stirring your gifts, calling your voice out of the shadows. You have been through enough fire to understand what gold feels like. The pressure, the pain, the misunderstanding, it all served a purpose. You are not who you were before the storm. The timid soul that once questioned its worth has transformed into a warrior wrapped in divine authority. You have walked through fire without burning, and now your breath carries the fragrance of survival and the sound of strength. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1. Arise and shine, now your light has come. The Lord's glory rises, His presence upon you, His radiance surrounds. This is not a suggestion, it's a summons. Heaven is commanding you to rise, to stop hiding your brilliance behind humility mistaken for fear. You have been trained in secret, purified in silence, and now the world needs the sound of your obedience. You are not just called, you are commissioned. The light upon you is not ornamental, it is operational. It is meant to break darkness wherever you stand. Picture a seed breaking through the soil. It doesn't apologize for growing, it simply follows its design. The pressure that once surrounded it becomes the very reason it rises. That's you, chosen one. The darkness that covered you was not punishment, it was your germination. And now, your time to bloom has arrived. You are not rising for recognition, you are rising for purpose. This is the prophetic uprising, where chosen ones across the earth are waking up to who they truly are. You will speak differently, walk differently, perceive differently. The Spirit of the Lord is aligning your vision with heaven's timing. The things that once intimidated you will soon bow before your confidence in Christ. And as you rise, others will feel it. Your courage will become contagious. Your resilience will spark revival in weary hearts. You are not just a survivor of storms, you are a sender of light. You carry within you a divine ripple effect, touching souls you may never meet, changing atmospheres simply by existing in obedience. Chosen one, you have carried messages in your silence that now need to be spoken. You've been entrusted with revelation, wisdom, and compassion forged through pain. This is your clarion call to stand, to speak, to shine. Heaven doesn't need perfection, it needs participation. The same God who called prophets in deserts and kings from fields is now calling you from your quiet corner of the world. And if this message finds a home in your heart, take a moment to let it live beyond this screen. Like this word, if it mirrors what your spirit has been feeling, because that small act tells heaven, I hear you. Share it so that another hidden warrior might find strength to rise from the dust. Subscribe to stay anchored in this flow of divine revelation, walking hand in hand with others who carry the same heavenly frequency. If you feel stirred to go further, donate not as an obligation, but as an offering. Imagine a candle lighting another. One flame, multiplied by hundreds, becomes a blaze that darkness cannot smother. Your seed fuels this flame, helping this message travel further than your voice alone could ever reach. Every gift, whether a prayer, a share, or a seed, is a spark in the great uprising of light. And when you leave your mark below, write from the heart. Comment "I rise now." Do not type it as a ritual, but as a declaration. You are saying to the unseen realms, "I refuse to stay small. I accept my crown. I step into my calling." You are placing your name among those who chose faith over fear. You are not rising alone. Heaven rises with you. Angels are aligning to your path, making room for your impact. The same God who spoke galaxies into being is speaking through your surrender. This is your awakening, your holy eruption, your divine unveiling. So stand tall, chosen one, lift your head from the ashes. You have been anointed to be a torchbearer in this generation. The darkness does not scare you, it recognizes you. You are the light it fears. And as you move forward, remember every click, every word, every act of generosity becomes another brushstroke in the masterpiece God is painting through your life. You rise not just for yourself, but for those who still doubt that they can. You are proof that purpose survives pain, that crowns are carved in the fire, and that destiny always finds its voice. The uprising has begun and your name is written in its first chapter. Chosen one. There comes a moment when heaven stops whispering and begins to thunder. This is that moment. What was hidden is being dragged into the light, not by man but by the hand of God Himself. Every conversation, every scheme, every secret motive that stood against you is now trembling under divine exposure. The season of silence is over. The judge of all creation has risen from his seat, and truth is marching forward like a storm no one can contain. Exposure is not chaos, it is cleansing. When God steps into a story, He doesn't just reveal, He restores. He tears down lies not to shame, but to set things right. Those who once thought they could twist truth for their gain will soon see that heaven keeps perfect records. The same mouths that spoke falsehood will now be silenced, not by humiliation, but by the weight of divine justice. God's light exposes, but it also heals. This is not man's revenge, it's heaven's revelation. And when God reveals, He redeems. He does not expose to destroy, He exposes to deliver. The truth that is now coming forth will not only vindicate you, it will awaken many. For when one chosen one is freed from deception, others watching are reminded that truth is still alive, that righteousness still reigns, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the book of Luke, chapter 12, verse 2. Nothing is concealed, all will be disclosed. Nothing kept hidden will remain unknown. God brings truth forth. That verse is a mirror reflecting this very moment. Every secret has an expiration date. Lies can live for a while, but they cannot live forever. When God says enough, deception collapses under its own weight. You have been patient while darkness disguised itself as light. And now heaven is rewarding your restraint. For a long time, you wanted to clear your name, to explain, to speak. But God restrained your tongue because truth, when handled by human hands, can lose its purity. He kept you silent so that when exposure came, no one could accuse you of manipulation. The timing of this revelation proves it's divine. You didn't force it, you waited for it. Imagine the dawn after a long night. The world doesn't rush the sunrise, it simply watches as shadows fade. That's how this unveiling will feel. Slowly, steadily. Light will stretch across every hidden corner. Names will be cleared, hearts will be healed, and what once felt uncertain will make sense again. You will see how God used the whispers of others to amplify His own truth. Do not gloat when the exposure happens. Do not rejoice in the discomfort of others. When divine light falls, it humbles everyone it touches. Even those who wronged you are still loved by God. Their exposure is His mercy calling them to repentance. Let compassion anchor your response. You do not need to prove your purity. Your peace will do that for you. There will be shock as truth surfaces. For many trusted falsehoods dressed in charisma. But you, beloved, remain calm. The light you carry was never meant to blind. It was meant to guide. You are not called to celebrate downfall. You are called to steward revelation. When others stumble under exposure, offer prayer, not pride. The mature heart knows that truth liberates both the innocent and the guilty. This moment of unveiling will also clarify your path forward. The removal of deceit creates room for destiny. The relationships, opportunities, and environments once clouded by manipulation will now realign with purity. Clarity will replace confusion. The noise that once surrounded your name will dissolve into silence. And in that stillness, you will hear God again clearly, tenderly, directly. You are being repositioned by revelation. The truth setting you free is also setting your direction. The places where you once felt trapped will now open like unlocked doors. The spaces where you were misunderstood will become platforms for grace. The hands that once pushed you away will now point toward the undeniable evidence of divine favor upon you. And while this exposure feels heavy, it is holy. The weight of truth is the weight of freedom. The things that once hid in shadows no longer have power. What is revealed cannot be reversed, and that is your security. You are walking into an era of transparency where both heaven and earth bear witness that you are who God said you were all along. So stand still as the storm of revelation passes. You don't need to lift a finger. Light does all the lifting. Watch as what was hidden dissolves under illumination. And let your heart rest in the assurance that justice and mercy are now walking hand in hand through your story. The truth has spoken and it speaks your name in favor. Chosen one, after the storm of revelation, after the shaking and the silence, you now stand in the stillness that only follows divine justice. What was once heavy has lifted. What once hurt now makes sense. The same ground that felt unstable beneath your feet has become sacred soil beneath your victory. You are standing in the glory after revelation, the dawn after a long, relentless night. It is quiet, but it is not empty. The air itself feels different, charged with peace rather than tension. Heaven has concluded what hell tried to continue. The lies have fallen silent. The noise has been replaced by a holy calm. You have not just survived, you have been sanctified through every season that tried to break you. What the enemy intended as devastation has become demonstration. You are living proof that truth always wins in the end. This peace you feel is not passive, it is powerful. It is the kind of peace that comes when battles have been fought and won. The wounds may remain, but they no longer ache. They have become markings of meaning, reminders that every scar has purpose. What once felt like punishment was always preparation for this moment of clarity and strength. The Word of God declares in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. That is not just a verse, it is your story summarized. Everything that confused you, Every delay, every betrayal, every loss, it all aligned to serve your growth. Even the tears had direction. Every disappointment was redefined as destiny once heaven revealed the pattern. You have lived through contradiction only to discover divine consistency. God was working all along. Look at yourself now. You stand lighter, clearer, wiser. The heaviness that once haunted your mornings has turned into quiet gratitude. You no longer wake up asking why. Now you wake up whispering thank you. That shift is evidence of healing. It means your heart has learned the language of surrender, the dialect of trust that only pain can teach. The glory after revelation is not about revenge or reward. It is about restoration of self. You have come home to who you really are. The illusions that once trapped you, people's opinions, external validation, false responsibility have lost their hold. The truth sets you free, and now freedom feels natural, not foreign. You walk differently. You speak with calm authority. You no longer need to convince anyone. Your peace is your proof. Think of a river after a storm. The floodwaters retreat, leaving debris behind. But over time, the same river clears itself, and its surface reflects the sky again. That is your soul. The turbulence is over. The clarity has returned. And what remains is a current of grace strong enough to carry others who are still caught in their own storms. You have become a lighthouse without even realizing it. Others will look at your endurance and find courage to keep walking. Your story will become someone else's map. The pain that once isolated you will now connect you to others who thought they were alone. This is the paradox of glory. It multiplies through those who have been broken and rebuilt. You are not the same person who entered the fire. The old you would have sought validation. The new you seeks only alignment. The old you feared exposure. The new you welcomes truth. You have been refined into a vessel that can hold greater anointing without leaking bitterness. You have learned to love again without losing boundaries, to forgive without forgetting wisdom, to serve without seeking recognition. Every moment you endured has matured your spirit. You have discovered the strength of stillness and the power of patience. You have realized that sometimes the greatest victory is not in conquering others, but in conquering yourself, your fear, your pride, your doubt. This is glory not worn as a crown, but carried as a calm. Do not rush away from this peace. Sit in it. Let it soak into your bones. Let gratitude replace every echo of grief. For what stands before you now is not just restoration, it is resurrection. You are walking in newness of life. The ashes that once clung to you have fallen away. What remains is the fragrance of faith, the scent of survival turned into sanctification. And as you breathe in this holy air, know this: the story is not over. It is simply entering a new chapter, one where you lead not by noise but by example, not by striving but by stillness. You are now a living testimony that when God finishes what He starts, He leaves nothing broken, nothing wasted, nothing lost. The glory after revelation is not loud, it is luminous. It shines quietly, steadily, through every action, every word, every choice you make from here on. You are the evidence that divine justice restores what human hands could never repair. You are the living proof that grace always gets the last word. Chosen one. If these words have met you in the right moment, then you already know it wasn't by accident. Heaven always finds a way to speak to those who are ready to listen. You have walked with me through revelation, through pain, through light, and into glory. Now, stand tall in that truth and carry it forward. If this message has stirred something deep within you, let it ripple outward. Like this message as a symbol of agreement with heaven's work in your life. Share it so another wandering soul can find the same comfort you just received. Your single act of sharing may be the exact light someone needs tonight. And before you leave, take a sacred moment to comment your declaration, just one phrase from your heart. It might be "I am chosen," or "I am ready," or simply "Thank you, Lord." Let your words become a seed of faith sown into this space of divine connection. Finally, subscribe and stay connected, not for content, but for community, for a continual flow of truth, hope, and heavenly reminder that you are never alone on this path. You are light. You are love. You are chosen.